The Beatles were always known for their unusual chord changes, but it may surprise you to learn that they were the first to use a chord sequence which has become a staple of rock and roll music, and they did it on their very first single. Now, the Beatles had always been influenced by music way beyond just early rock and roll. They listened to jazz, they listened to Broadway, they listened to music hall, and they brought in some of the complexities of those other genres into their rock and roll music. On their very first single, Love Me Do, there was a song on the flip side, P.S. I Love You, one of the first songs that Lennon and McCartney had written together. And in P.S. I Love You, there is a cadence, a chord sequence that ends each verse. Flat 6, flat 7, 1. What does that mean? Well, if you take a major scale and you flat the 6th note and make a major chord out of it, do the same with the 7th note, and then the main root chord of the sequence, you have flat 6, flat 7, and 1. Now, most of the time when you wrote songs in the early 60s, you would end your verses with a 5 chord to a 1 chord, or maybe a 4 chord to a 1 chord, but a flat 6, flat 7 was something that had never been heard in rock and roll. And the Beatles do it 3 times in P.S. I Love You. Let me play you that sequence. Here we go, flat 6, flat 7, and 1. Now that chord sequence, after it appeared in P.S. I Love You, started showing up everywhere. It's in heavy metal music, it's even in video games. Here are a few places where you might hear flat 6, flat 7, 1.
Wonder how you manage to make ends meet.
Until the sun comes up over Santa Monica Boulevard. When you're gone, how can I even try to go on?
La 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 la. Get ready, where till they go.
Flat 6, flat 7, 1. A simple chord sequence that you hear everywhere in rock and roll music. But the Beatles did it first, on the flip side of their first single, the song P.S. I Love You.